Even one of the wee ones. You are a cruel bastard. Did she start wailing then, let me tell you? Greasy went on, cackling. Never heard nothing like it. But get this, her bloke comes careening through the bleeding door crying if all's well. But all wasn't well. No, all wasn't well indeed, and what a night for a good darking. A mighty good darking. Greasy held up a finger. Gets good. See, she grabs her filthy beastling, and they scamper inside, and he tiptoed in place, creeping in behind, following the wailing wench, and her bespectacled, that the right word, bespectacled? It is, makes you sound erudite. Told you not to use them fancy words, it means smart. I is smart enough. So I is crawling in behind the bespectacled fool when he happened to... Greasy jabbed a finger into his own stomach. Walk right into me blade, he did. Spit's shoulders bounced along with his laughter. Careless. Fury flash-boiled Augum's blood. After listening to them boasting about their crimes, he'd had enough. He rose from the shadows behind them, body enveloped in the nearly invisible fluctuations of the chameleon extension that allowed movement. Like a scorpion stinger, the point of Burden's edge telekinetically rose alongside, aimed at the throat of one of the men. He had intended to put them to sleep. He had intended to leave no trace. But their words had poisoned that intent. Their words had condemned them. He had already publicly declared war against the Canterrans on behalf of the Arcaners, and thus he need not give these men notice. This was not a standard duel, and they did not deserve an honourable death. They were invaders taking liberties on defenceless Solians. A crime of war. Their candle-stub lives were to be extinguished by all known laws and codes. Aye, right careless, Greasy said in disappointment. But the fun has gone and stopped there. Some fat busybody, a fellow Canterran mind, called them overseers. Our own settlers misunderstood why we are here. To plunder, then settle. Aye, to plunder. So I told these overseers I was going to drag the wench to the stocks. But they seized the stuck pig and the wheezing wee one, and look at me, all angry like. So I throws 'em a few coins to keep their mouths shut, and off I went. Greasy froze, for he had spotted Burden's edge, floating free from Augum and glinting in the torchlight. Spitz spotted it too and frowned as if in deep thought, and Greasy's mouth opened and closed. Neither seemed to comprehend what it could mean, this random sword circling noiselessly. Yet the moment the slightest squeak escaped him, Greasy was silenced by a sickening gurgle, for Burden's edge had impaled itself to the hilt in his throat. He fell to the planks like a sack of spuds. Spitz, a bull of a man who would have served as a fine enforcer in a tavern, whimpered as he fumbled for his blade, only to freeze as he spotted the shimmering form of Augum step onto the platform. The pair stared at each other. Then the man overcame his hesitation and unsheathed his sword. Just as he opened his mouth to sound the alarm, Augum telekinetically freed Burden's edge from Greasy's throat and shot it at Spitz. But the man ducked, and as the blade whistled over his head, he stepped forth, jabbing at Augum's stomach with his blade. Augum stepped away and yanked, snapping, "Disablo!" and the sword twirled from the man's grasp. While Spitz flailed for it, Augum pointed at Burden's edge and soared it back in an arc. Spitz managed to grab the hilt of his twirling sword before it disappeared over the wooden wall. He again opened his mouth to shout in alarm, and instead gasped as Burden's edge exploded from his throat like a bloody thorn. He choked on his words and tumbled to the planks. Augum glanced about, saw that none of the other platforms had noticed, and bent down to remove and clean Burden's edge on one of the men's cloaks. "Chameleano null," he whispered after sheathing it, extinguishing the chameleon spell. Then he hovered a hand over Spitz's forehead, hesitating to deliver the final valediction. "Why are you hesitating? Even these two deserve the last honour." He nudged Spitz's helm aside and pressed a hand to his forehead. "May your soul find the peace together we could not reach." Although he had meant it, he wanted to be cynical. He wanted to snort derisively and say, "Though I know we could never have reached peace." Instead, he repeated the sacred phrase over Greasy's still form. "But I am sorry we are at war," he whispered.